So we have Akash Mehta today, and it's an interview with one of our clients, agenttraction.io. A couple things that we're going to go through every single thing from how he came on, some of his results, and his goals moving forward, and just some of the nitty-gritty stuff that you probably have questions about. So with that out of the way, Akash, we'll let you take the mic and just give us a quick introduction of where you're at, about yourself, about your real estate business, and how you really found out about us. So we'll start there.
Yeah, so I've been in real estate now for 5+ years. I think going into 6 now shortly here. I run my own real estate team called the Nexus Group out of Edmonton, Alberta. We have now grown up over 5+ agents on our team, full-time assistant, full-time sales team. So we kind of got the real estate team and the systems kind of down now. Once we kind of got that down, I think I started looking into different things, and I came across Agent Attraction a little bit ago, and I just started looking a little bit more and more into the product and started seeing like, okay, like what's this all about? It seemed intriguing at the time. I wanted to understand it a little bit more. And that's kind of when I hopped on the call with your guys' sales team, spoke with them a little bit, got to understand it more, and kind of just decided shortly after. It actually didn't even take me that long. I think it was within the span of like 2 weeks, we like finalized everything. He answered all my questions. We got back and forth on it, and I jumped on board. Like it wasn't something I, dwelled on too long there.
Definitely. Yeah, I think agent traction right now, there's so many brokers coming up. There's EXP, there's Real Broker, there's LPT, a Peak. Also a new one coming up called Energy Realty. So like I think in the next couple of years there'll be even more. And I think
Yeah.
also like EXP, they changed up their revenue share model. Like I think
Yeah.
now you can unlock the first couple of tiers without having a certain, number of agents there. But
Yeah.
um yeah, so before you sort of came on, like I know like a lot of people like that are probably watching this right now, sometimes they have like a doubt that, okay, can this whole selling to agents, digital products, services, whatever it is, would that even work? Like, did you have initial doubts in your head?
Yeah, like I think it's normal. I think like it's something that like just like any business, anything that you're gonna do, you're going to have like those initial doubts that like, okay, like is this going to work? Is there a market for it? But I think you have to just have like a little bit of like self-belief, self-confidence, and just do your research. Just be like just be sure that is this going to work for you? Is this something that I can do? And at the end of the day, the product and the business will only work if you're willing to make it work. I think that's what it will come down to is how much are you willing to invest in terms of your time and things like that. Like it's not going to just be gifted to you. So if you're willing to put in the work for it, it will work. And I think that can be said just about anybody that's even starting their real estate career, right? Like you're not going to just have people knocking on your door or making you calls and saying, hey, like sell my house. You have to work for your like initial database. Same thing with this too. I think it was something that I came in the mindset of like, I'm like, okay, like I'll have to work, I'll have to put some energy and time into this to make it work. And it did. But yeah, you'll always have self-doubts a little bit. Like, or you're always gonna be a little bit unsure, especially when you're coming from, it's a little bit of an unfamiliar territory. I think going from selling houses and helping people buy and sell, and then now going into like more of a digital media side of things. And it's definitely a little bit like the familiarity level is not fully there for most real estate agents. So there is a little bit of self-doubt, but if you're willing to work, I think you can always make everything work.
Definitely. And, I think as a good point you mentioned there is like, transitioning, but I think some agents as well, like, some people either make the full transition and they're like, I'm making so much money from this. I can just
Mm-hmm.
outsource my production, and some people want to keep the production side going and maybe just work with personal clients. So you have that luxury of doing it. But
Yeah.
nonetheless, like when you came in, right, obviously like a lot of our case studies show like big numbers, right? Like, oh,
Yeah.
Sam's making this much money per month profit.
Yeah.
And obviously it's a little bit hard to believe, but you can always reach out and get
Mm-hmm.
confirmation from the people. But did the idea of ever like using that kind of product, like recruiting with a digital product or online course business to attract agents to downline, did that ever cross your mind, or was that something you later considered?
Later, like I think I learned it more as I did the program. Like it wasn't anything that came across to me. And I think like more I did it, the more I realized like some of the top recruiters in EXP and stuff like are already doing this. And you just don't actually realize it from the outside looking in. And the more I kind of dove into it, the more ideas started coming to me where I was like, okay, I can actually do this, or I can, take a certain product and do this and customize certain things on what I want to offer. But I have the template of the white label product there to do it. So I think once I kind of started getting more and more into it, it opened up more and more ideas and options in my like mind over there, and I was like, okay, like I can take this in so many different ways once I just, start applying it. Once you've got the white label product, you can, take it in kind of so many different directions and just start using it. But it was something that never came to me until I actually started doing this.
Yeah, and I also think that during that time when you had purchased as well, like
Mhm.
there was more of a focus on just only selling digital products and like agent traction being sort of a side benefit. And now
Mhm.
what we've seen with like some of our other clients is like one of the bigger benefits for them is the agent traction part, which was like that's why like we literally rebranded everything to agenttraction.io because that's what like a lot of that's where honestly the real money's made, like the compounding income. Like I almost
Mhm.
view it as like, yeah, your digital product, the money you make from it on a monthly basis is a bonus, and that can be reinvested back into ads to keep the whole, system going, it funds itself. But really the game that you're really playing is how many agents can attract the next 3 to 5 years. Because I
Yeah.
think that's like that thing that's never gonna end. And like I think the beauty of this as well is like the people that have big downlines,
Mhm.
um, they end up like making so much profit on the back end that they can outspend everyone else on the front end. Like so,
Yeah.
like because your customer LTV, because even though it's like a downline, I still view them from a customer standpoint. They're still sort of a customer. They're paying you for some sort of value, and that's usually through
Yeah.
commissions. You're gonna have a much higher lifetime value than other even other competitors companies. So that's why you can outspend all of them. And I think that's one of the big benefits. Now, so when you started off, like was it like a little bit of a learning curve, especially like learning the white label, the techie stuff, or was it pretty much straightforward? You're able to get it all up and running?
Honestly, it was pretty straightforward for the most part. I think like most of it was super well laid out, pretty easy to understand. Like everything was in video form, plus the documents and everything were there. Like it was honestly like pretty self-sufficient and easy to understand. There were certain things that I feel like, I had some questions on, but as soon as I put it in like, the chat, I had somebody reaching out and answering it pretty quickly. Like usually Origin was the main guy and he was on top of it pretty quick for me. So yeah, like it was anything that was coming up question wise, I think I got it answered, but like most of it was pretty like, straightforward. Like everything was super informative. Videos were like, they were long sometimes, but it was good because you needed that actual like, that length to like fully understand what was going on. And then there was documents and stuff like that to follow up with. So it was pretty straightforward in that regard, I would say. Like I feel like anybody that comes in can jump in and learn as long as they're willing to put the time in.
100%. No, for sure. And I think also like given that I think you had sort of got your first sale or two or three, I think, in the first month
Mhm.
or so, or whatever it was. It was pretty
Yeah.
quick. But can you
Yeah.
tell us a little bit more about that? Like, what were those sales? What were the price points? And how was the sales process? Like, was it easy or how'd that work?
Yeah, like I my sales process was actually like I was still actually learning the sales process while I was first doing because it was my first month. So I was actually still learning it. And I ended up I one thing that I was like pretty set on was like I'm like this is gonna be a high ticket, like it's gonna be a high ticket thing. I wasn't gonna sell for a certain price, otherwise I wasn't gonna do it. I wanted to kind of establish that within the beginning because I was like, if I start taking discounts now, it's just gonna compound and I didn't want that to be a thing. So I actually kept it at a high ticket price right off the bat, and I started all my sales off with $9,000 plus. Like I didn't take anything below that, except for one deal that was not necessarily like the same full-fledged coaching package. It was just like a one and done setup kind of thing. And I worked on more of like a small custom offer, but even that I still did for like just about 50% of that price. And I ended up closing over I think over 20,000, I would say, in my first month or so. I got to look at the numbers, but it was right around the $20,000 mark in the first month. And it was, so like I made my money back and then some right away. So it was worth it to me in that aspect. And then it also like gave me more and more ideas and knowledge of like how to, take this course and take it down a different way and just get better with your own scripting and sales process. So you learn a lot within that first month or so when you actually start doing it and start talking to people.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the first time you did a little bit more done for you stuff, which
Mhm.
now that you're gonna, relaunch it, and we'll talk about it shortly, it's gonna be more of a done with you sort of course model, which is
Yeah.
obviously ideal. And I think, I think what's important to understand as well is like you initially sold it just to your network and people were already in EXP for the most part.
Yeah.
And you never actually sold to a cold audience, which I mean, I think a lot of people that coming on right now to this program, they have an audience,
Hmm.
and like some of those people are already at EXP or Real Broker, whatever brokers they're at, or LPT. If we're talking about from a downline and recruiting attraction perspective, but For the most part, like you only sold it to your internal network. So I
Yeah.
think we never even actually got a taste of selling to a cold market. But
No.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, like it was just because I did a custom offer initially where it was like like where I was like, okay, like I want to do something different. I want to customize it. And then before I can even like fully go live with the ads and everything, I was already swamped. I was like, this was taking a lot more of my time than I kind of realized. So that done with you model, I guess, was like a little bit like harder for me to kind of take care of because I was like, it just swamped me initially right off the bat with my first couple clients, my first two, three. I was like, okay, like this is taking way too much of my time. I got to slow this down a little bit. If I take on more, I don't have the capacity to actually fulfill what I'm offering. So I had to kind of put a pause on it right there and then to fulfill what I was doing already. And I think that's when I kind of learned right away too, where I was like, okay, like I need to shift the model a little bit and do it more so on a white label where it's more of a like a done with you system, right? So yeah, it was something that I learned over time, like as soon as I did my first few deals. And now that's why I stopped that. Now that I've kind of got it settled, I'm gonna recreate and rebrand the package a little bit on a different kind of model that I'll be offering up to people.
100%. And I think yeah, I used to project it down like if you have 200 agents or 300 agents. Like so, even for
Mm.
us, like when we sold, I never did agent traction at that time, and I actually regret it because we had 900 agents that we sold on for our. So we had like a lead gen digital
Yeah,
product as a course, right? And we
yeah,
sold 900 agents on in like less than 2 years. And from those 900 agents, the way that we obviously made money was near the end, we started charging everyone $97 a month, which is nice recurring revenue. But a
yeah.
lot of these people, like we made them a lot of money. And then I could have easily said, like, look, I would love for you to partner with me in XYZ brokerage. And I had
Hmm.
900 people that already know, like, and trust me. So
Yeah,
that's where I sort of got the concept from. And, it was just great that the other people in the XP and even like
hmm,
Real Broker as well. Like I always studied like the brokerages and like the top recruiters and
yeah,
attractors, and they're all doing similar like course model. And like, why wouldn't you want to model the best? And
yeah,
you know, so right now, I think in the future, so what you're really working on is getting up and running, but also getting paid ads and everything behind it. Because obviously, you took at some other clients like William and all this kind of stuff. Like they're making 100. I think William's probably past 100 grand a month, and like he's
yeah,
barely spending 10K a month on ads, which is insane.
yeah.
Um, and he's also using that to attract. So,
Mhm.
what's like your process that you were sort of thinking about, like? In the future? Like, let's say you're trying to get up and running in the next couple of weeks with ads and everything. Probably you take the calls first and you hire a closer or
Yeah.
appointment setter. And what's your process you have for the projected out?
Honestly, it's gonna be actually very similar to what I actually learned in the course, like what I learned actually in the course with how to actually scale your sales system and your sales process. That's kind of like what I've got planned, right? So once I've actually built out my course and everything like that, and I've got everything down where that done for you kind of model is set up, where I can kind of just white label the product and send it over to people. My plan is to take initially the closing calls and everything myself, eventually hire closers and outsource that and focus on one, like obviously like the product's there for people to like buy or sell, like like they can buy the product if they want to, like they have the full option to do that. But if they choose not to, they want to grow the downline and things like that, now I can bring them over to my downline, give them access to that product. And that's something that I want to utilize more as we're kind of getting into the next phase of where I'm going with this. So that's kind of my whole plan of what I'm doing, and my closers and everything will be reimbursed and things like that accordingly for that. But in the initial, yes, I will be taking on the calls to focus on that agent attraction, and then slowly start adding in more and more closers and kind of just follow the system that was laid out in the course with how to scale the sales process, because there's already a label, there's already a system there. I'm just going to, instead of reinventing the wheel, I'm just going to follow what's there.
Yeah, 100%. And like once you have the ads running, and the thing is ads, like that's not the best way to scale like whatever you want. If you want to build $1 million business, you can scale with ads.
Hmm.
But yeah, like I think the way that I've seen it work the best, at least for our clients and everyone else, is like, so let's just say I'm running ads and I
Yeah.
have like two, three, four salespeople. They're speaking like 100 agents a week or whatever, right? And um, like eight to 10 appointments a day because it's pretty easy to pack your calendar with agents. And what ends up happening is I always sell them on because that way, like you're getting paid up front. You're not losing money on the whole. Let's just like, I mean, if we're
Yeah.
talking about from a pure attraction purposes,
Yeah.
we sell them on first, and then if they're not able to buy on for whatever reason, right? we always
Mm-hmm.
say is like, hey, what we recommend is having sort of a backup offer where your
Yeah.
salesperson could be like, hey, look, Akash or Prab or whatever it is, like they offer this thing for free and you can get it in. We have a unique offer and we're taking a couple more people right now. Are you open to discussing that? And they say yes. And then you send them a calendar link, they book them in with you, and then you can go through how they can get for free by partnering with you. And like the thing is like the core concept is like they've already viewed you as an expert. They want to work with you and they know
Mm-hmm.
you can help them out, but they just don't have the money. So the way you can just offset that is like before they even buy digital product, is you can say, hey, look, I got left for you to partner with me. And then that's one natural way to recruit and attract. The
Yeah.
second way, though, what I also seen is like, I think you were talking about this as well, is once someone buys on, right? Like your program can be start off with a year-long program. You can bring it on to 6 or 4 months after, especially when
Yeah.
you're getting sales.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you can have a backup offer. So what I've seen that people do is like, let's just say your front end program is like how to generate appointments, how to, lead gen. That's honestly what sells in the market right now is like lead gen marketing type of
Mm-hmm.
digital products. And that just
Yeah.
it's a fact. But nonetheless, when they buy on, obviously you're gonna give coaching, mindset, accountability. But after they get those appointments coming in and all that kind of stuff, the next logical thing is like you're going to hire coaches or something. That's what I recommend on the back end.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can reach out to the agents like, hey, look, I think you'd be a great fit for our Ascension program. And what is in that program is we'll help you hire team members, assistants, ISAs. Will help you delegate everything, help you, build systems out, and you can really scale up. Now that program usually is double the price of the front end program. Now we
Yeah.
think about it from a pure business standpoint, but what I've seen is a lot of people would say, look, we've already got you so many results, you've already done well. What we can do is you can either jump on this program and you could buy, or you can get it for free if you just partner up with us at the Nexus Group or whatever it is, right? So
Yeah.
that would be the natural ascension. Now,
Mm-hmm.
is that something that you were sort of looking into as well, like doing something like that?
Yeah, I was. I had a like kind of like similar idea where it was like you attract them in with the front end offer. That's going to be kind of like where you get them to know, like trust you, and you kind of build a relationship in the business aspect with them, right? And then after that, my plan was that if like there's a second offer that I can do that can bring more and more people in, whether it's to partner up with you or it's going to be a higher cost, that's going to be the next tier. Like it's a tier two service almost of your business, right? So kind of in the same process, what you were just exactly what you were talking about.
Yeah, and what ends up happening as well is like, let's say you're bringing in so many agents, like we brought in 900 in like less than 2 years, right? So your coaching calls, like if you are like the perceived expert there, right? There's
Yeah,
900 agents, like there's like 50 to 100 coaching people on the coaching call sometimes. And what's
yeah,
up happening is they literally want to work with you, and naturally people want to send, so that you
yeah,
have to build a back end offer. But what I've also seen, and this is something that I picked up as well, it's like more of a ninja level strategy is you can actually delegate everything. So as in like obviously you can delegate your sales, so you don't have to be on sales calls anymore.
yeah,
You can delegate your marketing to like a media buyer for $1,000 a month. They'll manage all your ads. That's what I do. And on the
yeah.
back end, you can also delegate that too, and you can delegate the actual agent attraction part. So obviously you
Hmm.
can hire coaches. You can just honestly hire your top clients and be like, hey, I would like to run the coaching calls. So now you were removed from the coaching calls.
Yeah,
You're just in the course area. And even that course area, a lot of it's probably gonna be white label.
yeah,
But then what I also heard from one of our clients is because of the whole this is the EXP, but I think other brokers too, with the whole 2.0 share model, like
yeah,
what this guy's doing is he's getting his direct downline. And they're reaching out. So they're positioning themselves as coaches in the program, right? They gotta
yeah,
do coaching calls, and then they start reaching out and trying to track. So he's not attracting directly under him. He's
yeah,
just telling them to now go to the whole community that he's selling on, and he's like, hey, like you can work with us, and like that's how it is. So
yeah.
now he's actually removed himself from the ads, the sales, the
Hmm.
product, and
Yeah,
he's just getting agents joining his downline without doing anything. And that's, I
yeah,
think, the ideal state because now you're delegated and you're just growing a compounding vehicle,
yeah,
right? So have you
yeah.
thought about that as well?
No, that's actually cool. I never like thought about like I actually, you know what, because of the whole revenue share model that just got released, I didn't think about that, but that makes complete sense, right? Like how you can actually do that because now with EXP's new rev share model, you don't actually need to grow your front line necessarily as large because of the way that tier one, tier two, and tier three are unlocked. So yeah, that makes like the
So
aspect and the practice itself makes complete sense.
I think one thing I forgot to mention as well is like so all like so to make it like taking one step further, and this is like very, very deep level, but like I think some people that watch this probably pick it up, but like the
Yeah,
people that are in your let's say you sell like a pond of people that aspire to your product, right? A really good offer to make to them would be like, hey, look. I'm making 100 grand a month from a digital product, and
Yeah.
I got out of production, or maybe you start me doing production, doesn't matter. And what I want to do is I want to show you how to do the same thing.
Hmm.
So now what you're doing is you're not only getting them in your downline, but you're also creating another you. So now
Yeah.
you're really and going to the next level. Now, what I also say is like this is even one step further. Is you can either attract people into your downline that are new or people that are already in your downline,
Yeah.
already like already in your network. You can train them to do what you're doing already.
Yeah.
So you can be like, hey, look, I'm doing this much money already. I would love for you to do the same thing as me. Now what you do is you create more use.
Yeah.
And what you can then go one step further is then tell them to create more thems. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, this is like easier said than done, but I've
Yeah.
seen people that are already implementing on this and like it
Yeah.
just cascading in every direction, right? So you can see what I mean is like because obviously coaches and people that are like have authority are the ones that attract the most at any brokerage, but
Yeah.
it all starts with you solving it first, and then you can start to grow your downline, right? So,
Definitely.
um, yeah, I mean. I think one more like couple questions that I have is like a lot of people obviously a big thing is I think they focus a lot on trying to bring people in that are already at that like FLQA status, right? Like the
Mhm.
XP. And my approach on that is like always like solve the problem first,
Yeah.
which is first attract people and then get them into FLQA. Because I think a
Yeah.
lot of people are really stuck up. I only want FLQAs joining mine brokerage. I only want people that are already like that, which is great.
Yeah.
But I think what most people, and I've talked to a lot of our clients in our community, is like they had obviously everyone wants FLQA right away, right? But what I've seen is like they should focus on first getting people in their downline, which is endless, to do like a digital
Yeah.
product or something, and then focus all their effort on turning those people into like FLQ and getting them producing, as opposed to trying to get them on the
Yeah.
front end. Because there's a bigger subset of people out there that are not at that status. So you could turn them, and if they already paid you, they're already going to be more motivated. So, what's your
Yeah.
strategy for that? Have you thought about it, like how to get more production out of folks?
Yeah, like, and that's kind of going back to like, I guess, like what we talked about the course, like in that course that I'm building out and things like that I'm doing in there, I'm actually bringing in multiple people to like focus on different segments. And I want to like, because I have such a big network within EXP and I know I've got the collaboration, that support that I can bring so many people in. And it's talking about what you were just saying, like solving that front end problem, solve the problem first, right? So that's something that is like the main focus on initially, right? Like I'm not so dead set on just being like, okay, I have to grow my FLQA right off the bat, right? Like I want to first be able to provide a product, provide some sort of service that's solving people's problems first. They're actually seeing the value, and it's going back to, no different than selling real estate where you have to get people to know, like, and trust you. Once you've kind of got that and they want to work with you, now you can open up different opportunities and different channels of where you guys can do business together, right? So I think that's kind of already been the initial mindset and plan and kind of where I want to take things. And it's no different than how we operate our business, even on the front end for selling real estate, right? So like solve the problem first, and then, people will come and naturally be attracted to you.
100%. And I think, yeah, that's a key point you mentioned there. Like, I like a lot of people, and I think that's mandatory, especially if you want to attract outside of your geographical area. You want to go like nationwide, or
Yeah.
some people, like I mean, you can take it international if you really want, if you're solving that kind of problem for them. You can sell agents anywhere, but nonetheless, I think that's really important. So have like an incubator almost, get them
Yeah.
cooking up, know, like, trust, and then you can make that offer. Now,
Yeah.
last one or two questions here. So, in 2024 right now, we're in May, gonna be June. So, what's your next steps? Like, where do you see yourself in 3, 6, 12 months from now?
Mhm.
Let's talk about that and like what specific you're gonna be focusing on.
So, like right off the bat, the main focus is finishing up the course that I've been working on to basically create that done for you system and then focus on the sales process of launching that, right? So, my main goal is get people in, sell the course, sell the product, make sure that it's perfect. Like the one thing that I try to focus on is like making sure that it's actually a valuable product. Like I'm not trying to sell them just to make money. I want to make sure that they're actually seeing a lot of value in what's being offered. So that's my main goal right off the bat, short term. That's what it is. Finish the course, get this going, get this up and running. And then hopefully in a year from now, I want it to be that it's, what we were just talking about before, where other agents are, where we've been able to scale this to the point where yeah, we've got people in on the course and either people that are buying it, but also people that we've partnered with and we've kind of grown the downline. So that's kind of like what my outlook is in the next, 3 months to 12 months kind of thing.
Definitely, yeah. So, and it makes logical sense too, right? Because you now become sort of that case study yourself,
Hmm.
and they already have no like trust with you. So now you can be like, hey, look, like I love for you to partner with me to do the same thing I'm doing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's the best way to attract. And like, I think
Yeah.
that's why like sort of applying, because these kind of strategies that like even like there's like coaches teaching coaches stuff, right?
Hmm.
This is not necessarily from the real estate industry. It's just from the affiliate marketing industry. Like so,
Yeah.
that's the industry that I'm from as well. Like and marketing in general. And like we look at ideas and like the people that are the biggest affiliate marketers are teaching people how to become what they're doing, and then they people like
Yeah.
see what I mean. So if you can apply the strategies outside of the
Yeah.
industry and apply it into your industry, that's how you really scale. So, any other tips that you have for anyone when it comes to agent traction or recruiting, not just only to a downline, because I know people sometimes try and grow their independent brokerages or their even
Hmm.
their local team. Because I think we forgot to mention you also attracted to your local team too, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I attracted agents to my local team, and again, it was using the same principles that I learned from the program, but I was using it on just like scaling my initial real estate team just for myself, right? So I wanted to scale that operation. So was using the same thing. And I think it comes down to like one thing. Like I think people focus too much sometimes on like recruiting, and I hate that word because I'm like, it's not recruiting. Like when even with the way EXP brands it, it's called agent attraction, right? Like it's you're attracting agents over. So the main thing is that how are you going to actually attract agents where they want to work with you? So offer them a service, provide them some sort of value that they're not finding other like at any other place that actually makes them want to work with you. That's the whole purpose of attraction. Like like I've seen it sometimes where people will be like, they'll just try to call, like, other agents, or they'll be messaging other agents, and it's just the wrong approach. It gives people the wrong vibe. It's shady, right? Like, nobody wants to work with that. But if you've created a brand, you've created a product, you've created something where people are attracted to it, they naturally will gravitate towards it. And then they go back to knowing, liking, and trusting you. That's what's going to attract them. So I think that is the main focus on where I want to take our operation and, like be able to duplicate that going forward.
Yeah, it's basically like chasing as opposed to attracting, right? And
Yeah,
you see that all the
exactly.
time. Yeah. Even I
Yeah.
get like it's funny because I get text messages and emails from people that are trying to recruit me and track like, hey, like I got a great opportunity for you. And I think
Yeah.
I always say this too, like I got friends in the insurance industry. I'm like, guys, like instead of doing that, why don't you sell a product and like try to use that as a mechanism, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean that's great. So apart from that, like I know a lot of people that are probably watch these videos, like I mean obviously your program's not cheap and like they want to do their due diligence and everything. And
Yeah.
do you have any recommendations for them and like what's like your sort of words of wisdom for them?
Yeah, like go like my thing is like don't hesitate on it. Like if this is something you're thinking about, you're always gonna have the what if thought process. Like what if I do it? What if I do it? What if I do it? And if you don't, you might just regret it. I think just like invest in your business, invest in yourself, and take the plunge. Like the course itself is fully worth it. I'll advertise, like I will advocate for that course because I found a lot of value in it, and you'll make your money back sooner versus later. And then it's not just what you're going to get within the course. I think it's also the mindset and the way you're going to learn so many different things. Like just within this interview itself, like I learned something new on how I can actually take my, downline and like, cascade that whole effect. And that was something maybe I didn't think about, or the sales process, what you mentioned. So just alone, you learn so much if you just are part of the calls or, investing in the course. So I think like personally, I think it's been worth it for me. I will advocate for the course because I think, like there's a lot of value in it. And I'm a firm believer you have to invest in your business. You have to invest in yourself if you want to be able to go to the next level. So I think like, it's something that you should wholeheartedly jump into. If that's something you're considering, don't double think it, don't overthink it, don't have doubts, like do it, invest in your business. You're never going to regret it.
Definitely. Yeah, that was great to hear. Thank you so much, Akash.
Yeah, of
And
course.
I know we're gonna be crushing it this next year. So yeah, and where can people find you? That's on Instagram. They can shoot you a DM, right?
Yeah, for sure. So you can shoot me a DM on Akash Mehta, so AKASHMEHTA_. So that's my Instagram. You can always shoot me a DM over there.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Akash, and we'll see you soon.
No worries. Thanks, bro.